I, 34 female, and my fiancée, 37 female, have been planning our dream wedding for years. We're not very well off financially, but we're making do with what we have. Don't get me wrong, I couldn't be more grateful. For some background, my family is not extremely accepting of me and my wife, not downright toxic, just a little judgmental, except my sister. My sister, 42, has very strong religious beliefs and has also raised my niece, 21, the same way. Not that that's my issue. A few months ago, my niece was diagnosed with lung cancer due to excessive years of vaping and smoking. My family has taken this news very seriously. 5 days ago, my sister and niece knocked on my door when my fiancé wasn't home and said they wanted to talk. I let them in and then they asked if I'd be willing to donate money for her chemotherapy. I was happy to donate a few $100s, but when I asked how much, they said they would want me to pay the whole amount, about $20,000. I said no, as I didn't have all that money. They then suggested that I should cancel my wedding. I said no way, as we've been saving money for the wedding for years, and it would take us ages to save up all that money again. I told them I would take a couple of $100 out of my savings, but nothing else. My sister told me to grow up and pay because it's not even a real wedding, because we're gay. After hearing that comment, I told them to get out of my house and that I would not be donating anything. They started to argue and I just pushed them out and slammed the door in their faces. Since then, my family has bombarded me and my fiancé with messages saying I'm an idiot for not giving up the money. My fiancé, who has more of a backbone than me, said not to deal with their BS. If they wanted the money so bad, my whole family could pull together. I have a big family. I feel bad for my niece, especially since my sister, being her mother, made her this way. But if she doesn't figure out her behavior is wrong, I won't be donating anything. Also, I kind of feel as if it's kind of her fault for her cancer, because if she didn't smoke and vape, she wouldn't be in this situation. I know that's bad to say, but I can't help feeling that way. So, am I the idiot? The audacity to show up spewing hate while asking for every penny you've saved for years? Ridiculous. Tell your family to F off and have a wonderful wedding with only those who love and accept you. And your fiancé's right. If they need $20,000 for chemo, the family can pull together money. See if they'll sell their wedding rings to help save your niece. Not the idiot times 1,000,000 times. OP, you should have said, I won't be giving you any money, but I'll be sending thoughts and prayers, which we all know is much more effective. You need to go full no contact with anyone who thinks they can speak for your money, life, love, or anything else they have absolutely no right to say anything about. Drop them all. You're worth more than that. Yeah, it would have been one thing to ask for 1,000 or 2,000, still a lot, I know, if you guys had a healthy relationship. But given that they're so judgmental, a few hundred is more than generous enough. Also, your niece is old enough that she should be able to realize your sister's views are BS, and you aren't wrong. With the excessive vaping and smoking, your niece sadly brought it on herself, especially at such a young age. I can imagine how much she was going at it. Honestly, I don't know why they need 20,000. The niece should still be under her mother's or father's insurance until she's 26. If for some strange and unheard of reason, her mother or father don't have insurance in this day and age, we have Medicaid, state insurance. She would qualify for emergency Medicaid covering most of her bills, and anything left over would not be needed up front. It would get billed to her and can be set up on a payment plan. So I find it strange and unheard of as to why she would need a lump sum of money up front. That's not the way treatment works for cancer. To be honest, I'm betting she doesn't have cancer. Agree, it seems weird that they would need that money up front. I feel like they're using her cancer to get them to cancel the wedding and have their hands on some extra money. OP, this reeks of trying to get you to cancel the wedding to save your soul. 21 years old and already has lung cancer from smoking. That's very sus right there. Usually it takes a lot longer for cancer to develop. Have you seen proof that she's actually sick? Not impossible, but still. My partner and I were on a family trip for Labor Day. We went to his hometown close to where we live. We rented a hotel and we have a toddler. Obviously, traveling and existing with a toddler isn't always the most enjoyable. My toddler also got a small cold, which I did too. It was delayed by maybe a day or so. My partner comes from a trashy family and there's always a lot of drama and stress when my partner sees them. My partner doesn't carry stress well. He's on edge with me, our son, and everyone around him. On the last day of our trip, he asked to work out. I stared blankly at him and he said, "Never mind, I'm just going to work out." I finally said, "Well, we're on a family trip." He said he didn't know why I had a problem with him working out. Well, we're trapped in a hotel room, my son is sick and I'm now sick too. The last thing I want is for my partner to leave for an hour because he fails to self-regulate himself in other ways where he's still present for our child and me. We're at such a standstill. I think he's not putting our family first and he feels I'm being controlling. The reason why my partner has to work out is for anxiety and ADHD. He needs the dopamine hit to feel in control. To me, a small hit of dopamine isn't being in control. It's a quick high. I don't know, you all, am I being an idiot? He left you to work out for an hour? 1 hour? It's not like he's leaving the two of you alone with his family for most of the day. Just hang out in your room and watch a cartoon or something with your kid for an hour. Yeesh, you are the idiot. Working out is a form of self-regulation. He doesn't have to be with you 24/7. Stop clinging like a dingleberry. You are controlling as crap. Also, the way you minimize and condemn his method of self-regulation is really gross. When you have ADHD, that dopamine isn't just to feel in control, it's about getting your dopamine to a baseline that isn't deficient so that you can function like a normal human being. Be thankful he has healthy ways of managing. I wish my partner would go to the gym for an hour instead of smoking alone in the car. Why can't you self-regulate and manage your emotions in a way that allows your husband some personal time? You just wanted him to be in a room sitting there being miserable after dealing with his trashy family. You and your son were in the hotel room with a cold. What could he realistically do for you in that 1 hour? If you allow your husband to meet his need for exercise, then he'll be more present and better able to serve his family. My husband and I are 2 weeks from my due date. It was unplanned, but we're definitely excited. We're both 30 and never thought kids were in the cards for us. For the past 5 years, his best friend has been dating a girl, Christina. She has 2 children from her previous marriage, but Joe is kid-free. For the past 2 years, every time we've hung out with them, Christina has been saying she wants a baby. It was constantly brought up and she would get very upset at times because of how badly she wanted a baby. Joe also wanted a baby but thought he was infertile because it just never happened despite never using protection. Joe actually booked himself an appointment to get checked. They found out 8 weeks ago that they were expecting, a week before his scheduled appointment to check his fertility. He was over the moon. So was she originally. Now, my husband and I were also extremely excited about this because when my husband and Joe had been best friends since kindergarten, we thought that our babies would be the best of friends as well. Well, about a week ago, Joe got a hold of me begging me to talk Christina down from the cliff. She was telling him that if he didn't buy her a house, she would end it. She started using the baby against him fiercely. He's not in a position to buy another house right this very second. He sent me screenshots of their conversations and they were bad. She was seriously just losing her crap on him for stuff outside of his control and threatening to end it over mundane things, i.e., well, if you don't do this, then the baby is gone, or you're going to be the reason why this baby doesn't make it because you stress me out, or because they were arguing about him picking up an extra shift that weekend. So I texted her and I didn't tell her that Joe had asked me to. I simply tried talking to her about what she was going through mentally. She seemed to calm down, but she went on and got the procedure 2 days later, and when Joe asked her why she would do that, she said, "You should have listened to me and did what I asked." I lost every ounce of respect I had for her. I am pro-choice, but this is messed up. I no longer want anything to do with this woman. While he agrees that she's ignorant, my husband says we should just stay out of it because it's not our business. And that's true, but I never want to see her again, which would heavily limit how much I interact with Joe because I doubt he'll leave her, though I think he should. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Did Joe keep the appointment to check his fertility? The only reason I can see to get a procedure in this case would be if his results were going to show he couldn't father a child, and she would get called out. But it's probably the best option anyway since mom doesn't seem emotionally stable enough to care for a baby. Or she's faking ending it because it's a fake pregnancy. They found out 8 weeks ago that they were expecting, a week before his scheduled appointment, to check fertility. I bet he cancelled the appointment, and this was a setup from the start. She's a psycho. You don't want her anywhere near you or your child. As harsh as it sounds, I agree. She shouldn't even have those 2 kids to begin with if she has mental issues. Those kids will grow up with so many problems and scares with a mother like that. My supposition is that she's had her tubes tied or is on birth control and doesn't want him to know. She would have had a loss if he'd bought the house. All of these things are heinous. Either way, she's shown her true colours, and he should not ignore how she used his child against him. My 45 male current wife, Alicia, 29 female, is the stepmother of my 2 kids, tween and pre-tween females. My kid's biological mom died 2 years ago from a rare form of cancer. From diagnosis to losing her, it was just over 4 months. The hospital that had treated my late wife offered grief support groups that specialised in helping kids deal with their grief. I decided to take my kids to the support groups. Alicia was working in the hospital's gift shop, so we pass each other regularly. My kids were also getting private sessions with a social worker, so I'd sit in the coffee shop and could see Alicia from there. One day I struck up a conversation. One thing led to another and we married 6 months ago. When I was married to my late wife, I never imagined that my kids would need a nanny. We started off poor. Things have changed financially. Alicia is a great person who helped me get out of my shell and socialise, always getting me thoughtful gifts. However, she admitted she didn't anticipate the thankless, back-breaking tasks of raising kids. Her mom did everything for her growing up, so she doesn't know how to cook, nor do I. She didn't drive much, so the thought of carpool lanes makes her want to tear her hair out. Kids can be fickle. Alicia ordered pasta for them once, and my older daughter asked if she could make it like her mom did, and that really set everything off on the wrong foot. The final straw was when my younger daughter got sick. My wife and I were scrambling because neither of us knew how to make the special soup my daughter wanted, and Alicia had never cared for a sick person other than me, and I just grinned and bore it. I ended up sending Alicia to a hotel because if she got sick, I probably would too, and I didn't want her getting sick, period. I realised this was a toxic situation and that I didn't marry my wife because I needed a cook or a maid. I didn't need her to be what my first wife was to love her. After that, I told the girls we'd be hiring a nanny. We were already outsourcing cleaning, so the nanny agreed to take care of the kids and cook meals. My daughters were upset, and even though the nanny we hired was the sweetest older woman, they asked why Alicia wasn't taking them shopping or watching TV with them. School just started and both kids were already sick. The nanny was supposed to be off, but my older daughter heard Alicia saying she was calling the nanny because this was her area of expertise. She got upset and said she didn't need a nanny. I asked if the nanny was mean and she said no. Alicia got upset and told her to show all the adults some respect. Then my younger daughter started crying. Am I the idiot for hiring a nanny? My daughters need to be more accepting of the situation. I watched the nanny cams. The nanny isn't being abusive. Since she came, I'm less stressed. Alicia is less stressed and doesn't feel like she's being forced into a home economics class where it's all about what she's doing wrong. You are the idiot. You met your new wife accessing grief support services at the hospital where your first wife died. You only considered your needs when you chose this woman. You have 2 children. Were you considering them at all? What have you done to help your kids deal with the loss of their mother? You married her way too quickly as well. Doesn't sound like you're doing any parenting at all. Well, he put them in therapy and had coffee with his future bed warmer. Father of the year. The nanny isn't the problem. She sounds lovely. Hope he can afford it. The problem is that having a nanny in this situation is like trying to use a band-aid to keep a dam from bursting. Opie and his wife must figure out how to invest time and energy into these children. They need to take advantage of the stress relief that the nanny provides and put that immediately back into family time with the girls. Exactly. A new stepmom who doesn't do anything for them or actually anything at all. She found a dupe that would pay for a nanny, maid and everything else. He gets to have intimacy and the girls are just left to struggle with 2 selfish, useless people who care more about their comfort than 2 sad, lonely little girls. Oh, and the tone of blaming the girls for wanting the comfort of a real parent. How hard is it to make a kid spaghetti or learn about the soup that they like? I guess OP would have to care more about them than getting laid by a chick almost half his age. Well said. He went from being a single dad of 2 girls to a single dad of 3. One of them with life skills at toddler level. I hope his girls actually learn from the nanny or someone else what a loving adult actually is. Wise choice, man. I have a hunch that Alicia is really pretty. My brother recently proposed to his now fiancée, who I'll call Sky. My brother and Sky have been dating since high school and since then we haven't gotten along. She's very dependent on my brother and doesn't like to share his attention. My brother was in basketball and when we went to his games, she would look for me and tell me not to cheer and get upset when I did. We had the same agri-science class together and when I was talking to my friends for advice, she would overhear and tell my brother I was talking bad about her behind her back. Some of my brother's friends even talked about how odd her behaviour was whenever my brother shifted attention. She would act aloof around my parents as well. My brother said her behaviour was because she didn't have a good home life, and I believe that, but I decided to keep my distance around her. When we graduated, she didn't want to keep living at home, so my parents allowed her to live with us. I was against it, but my parents insisted because she had nowhere else to go. Living with her wasn't better, and she wanted more of my brother's attention. He would promise me that he'd make up for lost time, but then he started cancelling our plans and stopped attending my birthdays because of Sky, and he didn't want to upset her. I stopped expecting anything. When my brother got a job after college, he worked on getting Sky therapy. She's been in therapy for almost 3 years. I don't know how she is now. He recently proposed to Sky and he announced it to the family. He invited people over to his home to announce it, and I didn't come. I heard from my cousin. He's been texting me through our parents' phone, asking to talk because he wants me to play a big part in their wedding and reconnect. He also said Sky's sorry. He made his priorities clear when he constantly chose Sky over me. I told him I wouldn't attend his wedding, and now my family is mad at me. They told me Sky went through a lot and is getting help, so I can't blame her past behaviour and my brother for helping her. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. She sounds like a dog I used to have who had resource guarding issues. She found a good thing and she was going to keep it no matter what. The problem is that no matter what will probably involve her isolating him from everyone and killing the relationship at some point. However, you said she's getting help, so maybe she can work through it. I hope so. Your brother will need you if and when this relationship crashes and burns. I'd keep a door open for him just for that eventuality. This is great advice. I lost a friend in my early 20s to a narcissistic partner. It took her 12 years to break free, but when she did escape her crazy wife, I was the only one she reached out to because I was the only one who didn't blow things up when she cut us all out. I'm glad my mom gave me the same advice you're giving OP. I disagree. It was the brother's choice and the brother is the one who killed the relationship. Despite what the family says, yes, you can blame your brother. It's been 5 years and no apology except to say, Sky is sorry. By the way, do they have your phone number? Do they know how to text or call people? Because if she can apologize to you and hasn't, then she's not sorry. Exactly. Sky says she's sorry. LOL no. I bet she didn't. Is brother sorry? Is he going to apologize? Is brother willing to make an effort beyond saying, come and show up on my wedding day to play happy family? The problem is that brother totally dropped OP and he's the one who needs to make an effort to make it right because he's acting like the past 5 years haven't happened.